Who's a good dog? Come on, boy. Maybe you haven't talked to your mom, your grandpa, or a cousin in a long time. Don't just call them up. You send them a Spruce Stomper link and say, hey, thinking of you. It's improved my life. It might improve yours too. And welcome back, friends. I'm going to be honest with you. I have tried to film an intro 3 times and blah, you know. So anyways, let's just get into it. I got a cool project. It's a project that's part of a project that you guys have already seen a little bit of. And I'm excited to get another phase going. Oh, that's another boat I own. Sadly, the boat leaning in the tree is more functional than the other boat you guys might be familiar with in the last couple videos. So I'll tell you, treasure everywhere. We're gonna take the quad with us. You guys remember that? The Swedish brush axe. If you don't remember it, go back in the channel. There's a whole video about it. Oh, Jiminy, look at this. Oh, the dust. That's a sign a man maybe has his priorities out of order when there's that much dust on top of your chainsaw case. This is the most important reason why we take the quad around the yard, isn't it? Because my poor old dog, yeah, he likes to have somewhere to sit. You like to participate, but you're getting old. Oh, you're getting so old. All right. You guys recognize this half-done exterior? As it is the shop. The shop. Spruce Stomper's version of a revive and drive, essentially. Not lost and forgotten, certainly not abandoned, but definitely not functional without a little bit of work. So what would be nicer in a building than electricity? Some lights to shine on the work that we hope to do, and this is the wall that it needs to go through. But before we can even think about getting power lines down here, we've got a bit of work ahead of us because, well, the forest, she's thick, and I'm told from BC Hydro that there's some rules around what they'll string some power lines through. So we were gonna run power from the house down to the shop. So what we've decided to do is we've spoke to the utilities company. There is a transformer at this side of the property that is much closer to the shop, and it'll allow us to run a direct feed to the shop. It'll just have its own meter base, which is fine, and a lot less excavating, but just a little bit more tree cutting. So I'll get more into that as we do a little seek and find. I think what we should do though is hop back on the quad, go out to the road, and sight line to see if we can see something familiar. I think what we're looking for is just a nice little gap through the trees, so we don't want to upset any of these mature trees if we don't have to. They're few and far between these days, you know. A tree on this property that's good, healthy, standing, and isn't a balsam tree, I am very game to just leave it where it lives. Come, rodeo. We shall explore. All right, here we are. Infrastructure in all its glory. Isn't it crazy to think that all of our electricity is just held up by wooden poles? I mean, this thing's probably, wow, this is an original pole to the street. It's been here since the 70s. Well, as they say, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, as is with hydro. Holy moly, it's like hair on a dog's back. Well, a line of sight might be a lot harder. Easier said than done, I guess. How the heck are we gonna get in here? Okay, it's not actually that bad once you're through all the crap. See the shop? There, right there, there's the brown roof right there. So we got a pretty clear line of sight right through here. And that translates to pretty easy going through here with no big trees in the way, really. I mean, maybe this one balsam tree, and there's a poplar tree too, but we'll see. It's nice that there wasn't a dew last night. These bushes are pretty, not too wet. Okay, I think we'll head back to the shop. Now that I got a reference point from this side, we'll just line sight one more time, and then we'll do some layouts. So hydro will allow you, I'm gonna grab this mic off you. Let me know in the comments if you can tell the difference between when I'm wearing the mic on my shirt versus when it's clipped to the camera, because for some shots, I feel like it makes a difference. So we're experimenting here, and experimentation needs feedback. BC Hydro will let you run overhead power from a street pole 30 meters. What's 30 meters? I don't know, 100 feet, shy of 100 feet or something. So that's what we're trying to aim for. I want to get as close to the shop as possible because the overhead power line from Hydro that they supply is way cheaper than underground tech cable. I feel like this would be one of those good instances, Rodeo, where we leave the mic on the camera instead of coming with us. We'll see. We'll see. Gotta love that Honda. Okay, back to the shop. Put that on there so you can hear me. Okay, like I said, 30 meters from the street pole to your service pole, they will run overhead power. Now, the hook with that is they need to be able to reach your service pole that you install with their bucket truck. BC Hydro employees will not climb private power poles. If Hydro didn't put the pole in, their guy will not climb it with, you know, the spurs and the climbing gear. They need to be able to reach it with a bucket truck. So I'm cool with that because we're gonna roll in a whole bunch of stuff into this project that has a little bit more to do later on with clearing some trees, the earthwork around the shop, and maybe a second driveway. I do forget what I'm talking about sometimes. I just take advantage of the fact that I could edit that out maybe. All right, so the reason for the underground from the service pole versus overhead is, one, it's out of the way, and two, this is my biggest reason for doing it. If you come in overhead power to a building, then I'm gonna have to have a mast on the building, and what I'd like to be able to do is I'd like to drive around the back of this building, all the way around the whole building, and not be impeded in any way. So I don't want an overhead power line particularly. I don't want to put a mast on the building because the angle, if I can get back far enough, I'll show you. The angle of the building in relation to where this hydro line is going to come in, the hydro line is going to come in quite sharp. So there's the line of the building. There's my beautiful aluminum boat. We're going to be coming in like this, pretty steep. So I don't think there's really going to be enough clearance to get by the eave of the building, just the way everything's going to line up. And I don't want to put a mast through the roof on the end to get up above. Just say this way, I don't want one. I'm putting underground tech in, I think. Things do change. Things are expensive, so we'll price it out. I'm sticking to my guns on these chaps. I'm making a concerted effort to wear them because, you know, it just seems like one of those things you say that you're gonna do, and then if you didn't do it every time and something were to happen, well, you'd probably feel rather silly. And plus, I'm running out of work pants that don't make me look like I'm homeless, so I should probably try and protect these the best I can. Jesus, what did I do? Lose some weight or something? I had to adjust the waistband, Rodeo. So in addition to just cutting out for the power line, think we're gonna take the opportunity and we'll do a little housekeeping as we go. Like this little scrubby stuff along our path, we're gonna go ahead and take that out. It's just safer in general in the long run for fire risk and that sort of thing. Plus they're crap, they'll go rotten and fall over anyways. You gonna start? Yeah, it said it would start. Oh, that's a good sign. I'll probably leave the microphone with you folks because, you know, it's unpleasant, loud. Oh boy. I thought that was gonna get you. It didn't almost get you. It almost got that though. Oh well, can't win them all. We're getting somewhere. Look at this tragedy. See all this? Years ago when we first moved here, where the shop sits now were all these trees. And we did all the clearing, and apparently I still had a bit of a passion for firewood back then as I do now. And we had the excavator here, we had a fire going. They said, would you just want to get rid of all this stuff? I said, no, no, no. We're gonna deck it up and I'll use it for firewood. Well, it didn't happen. And now it's pretty much only suitable for outside fires. She didn't stand up the test of time. So it's pretty rotten. Yeah, looking better already. Yeah, it's all cleaned up. So we're gonna get that out of the way. I think we're just this little stand of tiny trees. We're gonna take those out anyways. When trees live too close together, they get really unhealthy, just like people. Been around a long time. I scratched the dang paint. Here's a question for you savvy viewers. How much in volume is a cord of wood? How do you measure a cord of wood? Fire that down in the comments. We'll get a little back and forth going. Hey, Rodeo. Dog don't like the chainsaw. I shut the chainsaw off, dog comes back. Chainsaw on, dog gone. Dog gone. I'll tell you, this is a perfect time for doing this kind of stuff. There's no mosquitoes, they're gone finally. And it's not too hot. I love it. Now, I don't want to brush this out crazy. I'm just gonna get a bit of a walking trail through here, because of course, the power line is all gonna be overhead. All right, well, we made it to the pole in what is definitely not a straight line. But before we get carried away with brush whacking big trees, let's see where 100 feet lands us. I feel like 100 feet is a lot closer than I was thinking. There you have it. I've never had this tape out this far. I hope it's not one of those things where it turns out it doesn't like it and never goes back. I'll have to give it back to Milwaukee for warranty. So far, so good. It actually works better than it ever did. So this is where we started. This is where I thought we were gonna head. We're actually gonna end up over there. You see the silver tripod? Now, this is actually a pretty good thing. Other than I was hoping to not have to move this giant pile of old firewood. But if we need, we're gonna have a machine here to trench for the tech cable anyways. So it might as well fire it up. Might as well get a piece of equipment and do it, you know? I think that's probably what that guy would do. Just get a big machine and thrash all this crap out of the way. So when you invite hydro to come, as I've had to do times before for construction projects, you want to make sure you got things set up, playing by their rules. They'll send a planner out ahead. So basically that's a person from their office that drives out, has a look at what's going to happen prior to the crew getting here in advance, because they don't want to waste their time. And if they don't like what they see, you lose your spot, you try again. There's some flexibility. The guys that usually show up with the gear, the actual crew, they're much nicer. Like when we did our house, that thing's heavy. When we did our house, the planner came out and I had a private pole in the yard, and it had to go, right? But I wanted to keep it. And they said, oh no, you can't keep it because it was a hydro pole, and there was a bunch of stuff anyways, liability, right? So, okay, whatever. The crew shows up, they pull the pole out, they're like, what do you want us to do with this? Because they're supposed to cut it up, I guess, is what they said. And I said, please don't. So they left it there, and I've used it as a gate post. So yeah, just two sides to the coin, you know? Do you find that in every circumstance you're dealing with people, there's always two sides of the coin. You just got to be patient and wait till you get to the good side. All right. Let's fall some trees. Fall or fell some trees? Grammar. Might as well buck this up a little bit while we're at it, because it's going to be in the way. We've got all our trees down, except for two. So we took out this little stand and the two bigger ones. So now we're clear shot. And what I'm really happy is that this stinking birch tree can just stay where it is. It's leaning away from my power line, and I didn't want to have to mess around with falling it because it's actually leaning out towards the road, towards the real power line. So we got a dead spruce there that we're gonna take out, and then I'm gonna leave the rest and see what they say. But look at this big old lunker. This is a poplar tree, and if we look up here, that whole arm is dead. Big, dead, stinking branch, and the top is dying too. So I know what will happen if we leave it. If we leave this poplar tree here, it'll eventually fall on my power line to the shop, and I'm gonna have to deal with that. So I'm gonna cut it down. that last one dead and snarled. Look at that. So I think what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it off, which is a no-no, by the way. If you're falling trees, don't cut them right off, because then you got no control. But in this case, I'm gonna cut it right off. It's hung up in the branches, so it's just gonna stay exactly where it is. And we'll use a little brute force to drag it somewhere a little more desirable to work on. See, only if you're a qualified amateur can you do stuff like that and not get squished. But see, the branches are got her hung up there. There's no falling that baby. She's well, intermingled with the forest. Well, there we go. That one's all bucked up too. Firewood for another day. I'll tell you, I did find, I'm not the first guy to venture to this part of this property and ponder doing a project. Somebody else was out here having a thinking beer. Look at that. Pacific Pilsner, the original Pacific. We probably would have got along, because that's the same beer I buy still right now. That's worth a dime now. Fund the project. Oh, now it starts to clean up. Look at this. It was, what did I say when we started? It was just gonna be a little skinny trail, and now it's 30 feet wide for some reason. But you know, you want your property to be accessible. I don't want to struggle. You know, I got lots of nature around me. I can afford to cut a little bit of it down. Let's just take a minute and enjoy this. Look at that. Look at two beautiful pieces of equipment. Man, I'll tell you, I'm not even sure it gets much better than this. Except somebody's making a big mess and nobody's going behind me and cleaning it up. Oh yeah, I ended up taking about 3 or 4 more trees. They're just dead. Some of them are dead. Look at this. There's a little one there. That's gotta go. That's gonna go. That's gonna go. And those 2 are gonna go. Because look, I don't even have tops. It broke off. And then I'm done. Then I'm gonna stop. Well, we're almost running out of trees to cut down. You know, that's these projects, they snowball on a guy. Not partially due to my own fault because I lose focus, but that nice simple little trail right in front of me is the 100-foot mark where I'm gonna put the pole. But the more I got to looking, all of these trees, I mean, they had no tops in them, you know, they're bust off. Balsam tree's not very strong, so it'll get a heavy snow load in the top and then breaks the top off, and then the tree dies. You can't take the trauma, I guess, and then they die. That, and then all these little teeny, they're like this big around, they grow up around the bases of the other tree. And so, you know, we went from brushing in a power line to a little forest stewardship here. Just it's just a lot of fuel, a lot of fire fuel close to my buildings and stuff. So now I'll pan you around here, but we got a nice clear spot. Definitely lots of room for a power line. Oh yeah, it's looking good now. It's like a freeway. See that? Clear path to electricity. Whoop, careful meow. An accident-free day. I don't need to fall off the log pile. You know, some of these logs, I don't know. Maybe we'll dig into them. Maybe some of the ones underneath are okay. But see that? It gets all punky, eh? It'll burn, don't get me wrong. I mean, how's that go? I mean, you can never, it never gets so rotten that it still won't burn, but it's just hard on the chimney, you know? That creosotes it up and whatnot, so they say. I'm less fussy about it. I'm gonna say it again. Some firewood's better than no firewood. I'll tell you what, if I ever get a t-shirt made, that's what I'm gonna put on it. Some firewood's better than no firewood. So, man, just look at this. So this, all that now completely cleared out. Those were all dead. All those trees were dead. So power line, nothing to fall on it. I'm not gonna trim, I was gonna grab a ladder and trim these branches off, because I know they'll make me do it anyways, but right there, that's the height of the power line. And then I want to see, I don't know how tall of a service pole I'm going to put in. I want to see where the line comes down and only cut the branches where they want me to cut them, because we're trying to keep some privacy too, right? We're trying to keep some road privacy. My neighbors are right over there. The good thing about this is the shop blocks the yard, most of it, from any of this stuff. So you got some privacy built in. But yeah, I got to gather up all my stuff. You know, it's good to keep a mental note in your head, a list of the things that you've ventured into the woods with, to make sure they all come back. That brush axe was laying in the weeds there, and I kind of forgot that I even had it. That's how you end up with rusty tools. So this should make it pretty easy now. We pop through the wall here with an Allen-B and trench this. Should be a straight shot. Move my luxury craft elsewhere. Those three trees, they're probably shaking their boots. They know they're next. And then just trench over there. I'm gonna grab that tape actually. You guys are gonna have to measure that out, see how far, so I know how much cable I gotta buy. I could move where the panel's gonna go in the shop, but it's only 30 feet, you know, like, even if it was gonna save me, I honestly don't know what the tech cable is worth, because I don't know what size it's gotta be, but whatever. Say that saving that 30 feet, say it even saved me $300 somehow, or whatever this stuff costs, I still wouldn't do it. It's already in, the finish is already done. It'd just cost me, it'd take me a bunch of labor to move all that stuff around. So let's have a peek inside. Let's have a peek inside where things are gonna end up. Well, you're in for a real treat. I bet you guys were worried about the shop project, the shop revival. Thought I'd been slacking off. I was gonna keep it as a surprise, but we're getting somewhere. Look at this. Do you even recognize this place? If you want to avoid ruining a shop space essentially immediately, don't put one of these in it. Look at, there is not a single item in the entire building right now, except for you guys and me. Isn't that wonderful? Clean as a whistle. And, ta-da! Rebar, floor prep. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So this is where the panel's gonna go, right here. And then it's all gonna be surface wired, which at the time seemed like a good idea at the schedule of this building. And now, I don't know. I'd imagine BX cable and conduit and all this sort of thing is through the moon, but hey, I can't take it with me. I can't take it with me because I didn't have it in the first place. All right, well, thanks for joining the Spruce Stomper channel once again. I assume because you're still watching, you're already subscribed. And do me a favor, do me a favor. I like to keep it personal. I'm the kind of person that has conversations with strangers at the grocery store. Don't just click the like button, but look to the person beside you, tell them about it. Tell them what sort of riveting entertainment they might be missing out on. And in fact, whip your smartphone out and share the link. Send it to a loved one. You know, maybe you haven't talked to your mom, your grandpa, or a cousin in a long time. Don't just call them up. Send them a Spruce Stomper link and say, hey, thinking of you. It's improved my life. It might improve yours too. Anyways, lots more to come. Something might be happening with these 2 Goliath spruce trees in the future. And that rebar in the shop that you had a sneak peek at, it is not going to stay exposed forever and ever either, I hope. So I'm going to leave it there. We'll catch you on the next one.